ONtheGo Podcast. How do we treat damage to the meniscus in the future? Today we get an insight into the MEFISTO Project by Professor Elizaveta Kon from the Humanitas University in discussion with Dr. Jari Dahmen, Amsterdam University Medical Centers, University of Amsterdam. My name is Taka Oshima and this is On The Go, the podcast all around orthoregeneration.
All right, so we started the ONtheGo podcast, and we welcome Elizaveta Kon from Humanitas. And before we get into the MEFISTO project for 2040, we start with our icebreaker to ask you, because obviously you're living in Italy, how do you drink your coffee? How often? How much? Where? Tell us.
The first thing, I don't drink it outside of Italy because I think it's almost impossible to find a decent coffee outside of Italy. That's what we were discussing with Kai, and that's why. Because you say no, it's in Switzerland you can, and the United States you can, but it's cultural. I don't know why, because the coffee is not Italian and it's coming from Brazil and from other places, and it's not. But the only place you can drink coffee is Italy, all around the world. So I think it's really something very cultural. In Italy, we drink a lot of coffee. And I drink a lot of coffee during the day, and then the day is coming a little bit nervous. I was trying not to drink it before going to sleep.
And in the hospital, to get some rest or place for yourself, what's your favorite place to have a coffee?
The favorite place to have a coffee would be in Venice, in front of on the Caffè Florian, or in Rome, in Piazza Navona. For sure, it was a concept. When I was student, going around almost without any money around the cities to see something. The biggest luxury was to see and drink a coffee in front of something nice. In front of some famous monument, because the coffee just in the bar cost €1, and the coffee in front of the monument cost like 5 times, even more. And so it was a big luxury, and it stayed in big luxury in my mind. So I still like to sit down and if I have time, to look something nice, drinking coffee.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's good to know. That's good to hear from you. And then going into the MEFISTO project, because we are going into to 2040, and we are taking a vision onto the future. We first want to know from you, what is the MEFISTO project and what is it all about? Can you tell us?
MEFISTO project is a project dedicated. It's a project that have been started 4 years ago, and have been financed by European community, and it's dedicated to the meniscus, to the idea that when we are losing our meniscus, whatever it happens when we are young or it happens when we are older, and it's really destroys our joint, because meniscus is important. Meniscus is sort of shock absorber of our knee, and it's very, very, very difficult to live without meniscus. So this project starts from a nice collaboration we had with different research partners and the industries, just trying to understand what we can do to substitute the meniscus, to find the solution for the patients who lose their meniscus, because it has a lot of patients who lost their meniscus, or meniscus is not functional, and they're going very quickly towards their arthritis, and they have basically not a lot of solutions, if not the knee replacement of the end of the games. So we can do meniscal transplants, but in Europe there are some difficulties on the ability of allografts and meniscal transplants. So we are really thinking about doing something on the European level, to create new meniscal implants.
Mm-hmm. And I think most listeners want to know, because it's a very big project, 2 questions. Who are the partners working on MEFISTO? Who is the team, and how were you able to make sure to convince the European Union to give you some financial support? Tell us the secret.
Yeah, but there are two questions, but in reality coming together, because how I was able, because it's always we, it's never I, able to convince the European communities to give the money. You really need, it's really difficult. It's really difficult. You try 20 times and you succeed one. And you really need a nice project. You need, first of all, you need a nice unmet need, because European community is really sensible to unmet needs. And, everybody is coming to your mind. The first unmet need is cancer. So like everything is about cancer, but you can't only look on cancer and don't look on anything else. So cancer is not only disease, but the people osteoarthritis is very frequent disease and brings disability, a lot of disability to the people who have a pain in their knee and they can't work and they can't walk and they can't, be active, and they are unhappy, and they don't have cancer, but it's really the disease that brings them a lot of disability because they can't move, and it's really unmet clinical need. And the second, you need a nice project, you need ideas, and the third, you need a great consortium. And that's we're coming to the partners, because it's I think really big strength of this project that you have a consortium, and inside the consortium we have really a lot of different types of people. They are coming all around Europe, because we have partners from United Kingdom, we have partners from France, we have from Belgium, from Germany, from Spain, from Israel, from all around. And they are really, Switzerland, obviously, and they really very, very active partners. We have a great consortium. And another thing which is important is the variability of partners, because you need to bring something to the market. You need researchers, but you need all the types of researchers. You need biologists. You need somebody dealing with biomaterials. Then you need clinicians, because you need a clinical application. You need it for the animal model. So you need for everything. And then you need industry. You can't do the project without industry, because the industry will bring your product to the market, your invention to the market. If it's it's just exercise, academic exercise for yourself. If you don't have industrial support, it will never be in the market. And so we tried to have all of them. So we have different levels of industries. We have two relatively big industrial partners who are final users of the implants, which is Gleichlich and active implants. And we have smaller industries like IPU, and so another German partners who are dealing with cost effectiveness analysis. So we really have nice industrial environment in this consortium.
Yeah. So the key is also a multidisciplinary team, as I heard. And what is the role of the ON Foundation in this MEFISTO project? Could you tell something?
Well, Foundation is not properly the partner of the MEFISTO project. They are not listed as partners. So that only thing that it means that we don't get any money from the European community. But they are partners in more broad. They are listed as stakeholders, and they are listed like sort of collaborative partners of this consortium. So they are dealing with dissemination of the results, and they really help. They really help us to show the results, and they are really very good on organizing the things. They are very transversal. They go to United States. They go everywhere, and they found a lot of activities, and it's really very nice. And they help to sensibilize people to the meniscal importance of the preservation of the meniscus, which is, I think, very, very important. And broader is sensibilization, better is.
Mm-hmm. And so the project, you stated that the project started a few years ago, about 3-4 years ago. Could you say something about the milestones you've already reached up to now? So give us some small insights in the goals that you've already achieved. Is that something that you could share with us already?
Yeah, it's we have, because the two main streams of the MEFISTO projects, there are two types of implants. The first one is an implant which is supposed to get resorbed and regenerate the meniscus. So it's for younger people who are losing their meniscus in younger age and they don't have osteoarthritis yet. So we need something to substitute the meniscus. And the second type of implant is the implant which is unloading device, which is already exists. It's the implant already exists, but it have loaded on it anti-inflammatory components and anti-inflammatory drugs and the active elements in order to make the people suffer less, and they have a combined possibility, combined with unloading, so changing of the mechanical access, acting as a shock absorber by biological activity. So it's sort of combined activity. And so we are coming now to the stage of the animal model. It's a small animal model for the first and probably will be big animal model for the second. So we worked a lot with the 3D printed models. At the end, we decided not to work because you go in ups and downs all the time. Research is, you're trying to think that you succeed something, you don't succeed in something. So the very more important part of this project, because in the project, you don't have only one thing coming out. It's a lot of different achievements and a lot of different things which is coming out of the project. And we succeeded now, for example, to functionalize the collagen implants. Functionalization is, so how to explain it? To functionalize the biomaterial, so you have a biomaterial which have determined characteristics. So it can be inert, or it can be bioactive, it can be, whatever. You can stimulate with tissue ingrowth, but you can improve it. So you can attach something more. You can attach molecules, you can attach cells, you can attach dendrimers, you can attach different things to this biomaterial in order to achieve some function. In this case, we want to have a zone which is improving vascularization on the periphery of the meniscus. Just for, and we want for the other one, we want anti-inflammatory properties. So we attach something very active to the scaffold, to the biomaterial. And so this is very complicated. It's really very, very complicated. We have two partners working the functionalization, which is tricky, complicated, and really, 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 really difficult. And now seems that we will be able to do it on our scaffolds. And now we are going to the animal model, and hopefully we'll try and have at least a proof of concept by the end of the project. And then we will need the possibility to move on. And I hope we will have a possibility to move on.
Yeah. All right. And you mentioned that there are two different implants that will be used, one maybe for the younger population and one for the older population. What are the cutoff values for the younger people and for the older people?
The kind of, sorry?
The cutoff value. So how young does the person have to be?
How young you when you are young? Yeah. This is a tricky question because elder population becoming younger and younger. The elder people are much more active, and the life is longer. If we are talking about somebody who is 35 years old, in media level time, it was very mature person, and and it would be, you know, like at 40 you're probably ready to die because, you know, you're already really old.
Mhm.
In nowadays, on 35, on 30 you're a kid, and the life is still all in front of you. And so, but it's from the social point of view, but it's also biologic, because the people
Mhm.
live longer and they are more active and the life is better. Probably the food is better. I don't know. Probably there are not a lot of, you know, the problems with the hard environment and so on. So most of the people you have some problems with pollution, you have some problems with obesity, you have different problems also connected to the civilization. But for on the end of the games, the elder population is younger and younger.
Yeah.
And it's not that much important the exact age. It's much more important the state of your joint.
Mhm.
So probably who had somebody, we call them young guys with old joints. Sometimes you have people who have previous surgery, who already removed the meniscus, they have already osteoarthritis, they have already problem, and they're still young, but the joint is old. And
Yeah.
sometimes you have somebody who is 60 or even more, and the joint is still quite good and still well conservated, and their genetics and their biology is of a younger person. So it's very difficult to make cutoffs,
Yeah.
but it's much more about the joints conservation and obviously younger you are, better healing potential you have.
Yeah. Yeah. And so the project will go into the next stage with the animal model that will be in the next few years. Then taking a look onto, let's say, 2040, after the animal stage. Where do you think this project will lead to in 2040, and how will it change the medical care for people with these meniscal disorders in 2040?
You know, the project is will end in a little bit more than 1 year, and then we really hope we'll have a possibility from European community to, because we really have to move forward. We really need doing bigger experiments on what we achieved, and we really need to move forward to the clinical studies.
Mhm.
And so I will hope, you know, that the project will continue, and I'm sure it will continue, and we'll work with industrial partners, but also I will hope that European community will permit to bring this project to the next step, so close to the clinical studies, close to the patients. And one we have, at least, I don't know, you never succeed completely and all in what you're doing. I hope we will succeed, but even if we succeed at half, another important part of the project is, and I'm sure there we will succeed because we have a very good point, I doesn't mention it, is the patient profiling. Because this is a big part of the project. We are looking on the patients and trying to understand if these patients will develop osteoarthritis after meniscectomy or not. And it was discovered that some shapes of the knee, some morphology of the knee, is more dangerous to develop osteoarthritis than another one. So that will be really life-changing for the patients, like, you know, on the COVID test, you know, you take a drop of blood, you put it on the test, and it comes out you're on risk, you know, don't try not to do meniscectomy, or you have to think about, you know, alternative solutions and so on. So it would be really revolutionary for the patients, younger patients and older patients. And having meniscal implants to replace the meniscal will be really revolutionary, because now we don't have a lot of options.
No. So in 2040, you think you'll have a genetic profiling where you can take a blood sample or even maybe some synovial fluid and do some analysis on the outpatient clinic and say, okay, you have this much risk to develop OA.
No, it's not there yet, because till now we worked on the morphological profile, so looking on the patient MRIs and X-rays. trying to understand what is the patient future. You're reading the tarot cards. You're reading the patient future on the files. But we are working also on the combination of the biological environment.
So the morphological shapes are also part of the MEFISTO project?
Yeah.
All right. And could you already give some...
We have a lot. We have a lot of things.
Yeah.
And we are doing also a social economical analysis within the MEFISTO project. We are doing also a socio-economical analysis of the existing implants and the possibilities to give the tools to the European Union to see that it's really important that the meniscal preservation and even is something which is according to the socio-economical model, it worth to be funded and worth to be done.
And imagine if the European Committee will not give any additional finance after this project. What would you do if you would have unlimited access of financial resources, personnel, time after the finishing of the MEFISTO project? How would the perfect project look like for you?
Perfect scenario. No, perfect scenario. We will finish the pilot animal models. We have to move to the big animal model, which means sheep or goat. It doesn't mean dogs, because dogs are not an animal model. It's never used. It's never used. All the time you see the photos of the dogs, but dogs are forbidden. For example, in most of the European countries till 80s, dogs and any type of pets. So it's all the animals, which is like goats and sheep, rabbits, and mouse. Basically, the animal models is a mouse and a rat. And now you have to make a bigger experiment, because now we are coming only to a proof of concept. And then if you have an unlimited resources, we are going to worldwide clinical trial. For sure, which requires a lot of resources. But if I will have a more all around the world, not only European Union, but also other countries, also United States, so for sure make a worldwide clinical trial.
Worldwide clinical trial. And would you be randomizing all the patients, or would it be just prospective observational?
Clinical trials, when you bring we would need several clinical trials. We will need for sure, because clinical trials, clinical experimentation is step by step. You start by first in man, so it's not randomized, not controlled. You just put the implant in and see what happens. It's done especially for the safety, because you test obviously the safety and efficacy on the animal model, but the animal is not human being. So we'll see what will happen in the human being. And this is the first trial you need to do for the implants. And then you have the second trial, then you have to do a randomized control trial, probably on the larger number of patients, on the larger, And this is really, but I hope we'll be able to do. And then on another trial I would like to do, it's to perfection in the profiling analysis, morphological and biological profiling of the patient. Really, you really need numbers. You really need big numbers.
Are you using any artificial intelligence for the morphological analysis?
Yes, for morphological profiling, all elaborated by artificial intelligence. Yes.
Okay.
Don't ask me how, because I get lost all the time and talking with engineers. It's the group from Israel. We are working on artificial intelligence elaboration, but it's really complicated.
Yeah, that I understand. And have you found already some morphological shaping that are at risk, so that you can share with us today, or will they be shared in future studies?
Yeah, it's have been presented, but it's once again it's complicated it's not like just you look on the MRI side like this is if it's really but basically it's very simple. It's a small and narrow knee. It's a surface which is get concentrated with stresses. So if you're a very, very big guy and you have very, very, very small knee, just to exaggerate, you're for sure on risk. And also the particular shape of the knee is correlated, but you need to do all the measurements which are sophisticated. But the idea basically is it's the surface, the contact surface that's developed, but it's not easy to. But now it seems that it works on like 80% of prediction, so it's still preliminary. Still have
good.
to work on it.
Well, we're looking forward to the results of those studies, and I think definitely a lot of people will benefit from it. So that's good. Do you want to share some other details or stories about the MEFISTO project before we slowly start closing the podcast?
No, I think I think we more or less come for all these parts. Thank you for the interviewing, and good luck for ON Foundation, and thank you for the great work which ON Foundation is doing, not only for the MEFISTO project, but in developing all the osteoregeneration all around Europe and all around the world.
Thank you so much. And then a few last questions, only 3 very short questions, so that the listeners can get to know you as a person a bit more. What is your guilty pleasure?
My guilty pleasure.
Yes.
It's sometimes when I think it not that much guilty pleasure would be really a luxury and a guilty pleasure, and it would stay one more day if I go to the conference in a nice place.
Yeah.
And stay the whole day closed in the conference and never come in, and to have like half a day more and go around to be a tourist simply. Yeah. Because I'm going in a lot of places in the world and never see the places. I've been in Tokyo and never seen nothing. I've been there 3 times and never seen nothing of Tokyo. So it will be a really, really great guilty pleasure.
Explore a bit more on the conferences.
Exactly, to be a little bit, just a companion person. I would love to be a companion person once.
All right. Then the almost last question, but what is something that most people do not know about you?
That is a tough question. I don't. I have one thing that the people basically don't know about me, but I'm very timid. I was a very shy girl. Yeah. When I was a kid, I was really shy kid, and still now, if I find myself in the environment I don't know, I'm still very shy inside. But the people don't know it, don't believe most of the time, but it's true.
All right, and then the last one. What would be your tip or your advice for young clinicians or young researchers in the field of orthoregeneration? One golden tip.
Enjoy what you're doing. It's the best. You have to enjoy. You have to have fun. You have to have fun doing research. You have to have fun doing clinics. It's not always fun, obviously, but it have to be 90% fun. If you're in the OR, you have to have fun doing surgery. If you're on the conference, you have to have fun to present or dealing with people. And another one tip is collaborate. Make friends all around the world. Collaborate as much as possible. It's a basis of it's the game changer. It's really the game changer. The people you know and the people you can't imagine how many collaboration come out from just simple, friendship and something, which you not expect to become work collaboration, but it becomes at the end. So be friendly.
Have fun, enjoy, collaborate, and make friends.
Exactly.
Right.
This is all about ON Foundation. It's coming back to the concept of ON Foundation.
Yeah.
Connecting
okay. Well,
people.
that's some advice that we'll take with us. Once again, thank you very much for the podcast, and we'll see you around on the conferences and
the MEFISTO Project and predicting potential risks with AI. What a great insight into meniscal preservation in our future. Stay tuned for more content at my.on-foundation.org. Thanks for listening and have a great day.